You got to have principles. You got to have morals. You got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. He was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not going to say alleged because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self. You understand what I'm saying? So these are behaviors and things that with drugs and all the stuff that's going on, pills, drinking, it can make this man into a monster, and that's what it did, bruh.
I couldn't help but notice your pain.
My pain?
It runs deep. Share it with me.
They'll never take me alive. I'm getting high with my 4-5. Cocked on these suckers, time to die. Even as a youngster, causing ruckus on the back of the bus. I was a fool all through high school, kicking up dust, but now I'm labeled as a troublemaker. Who can you blame? Smoking weed help me take away the pain. So I'm hopeless, rolling down the freeway, swerving. Don't worry, I'm about to crash upon the curb, cause my business bloody. Maybe if they tried to understand me, what should I do? I had to feed my fucking family. What else could I do? Or be a thug? I'm slanging with the homies, fuck hanging with them phonies in the club. Got my mind no danger, never been a stranger to homicide. My city's full of gangbangers and drive-bys. Why do we die at an early age? He was so young, but still a victim of the 12 gauge. My memories of a corpse, mind full of sick thoughts, and I ain't going back to court. So fuck what you thought. I'm drinking Hennessy, running from my enemies. Will I let them be 23 and so much pain? Years and years of that rough life, running crazy wild as a kid, and going tough with a knife, and living tripe from the regular, walking out competitors. See a figure moving, check her down like a
raggedy bitch.
See little shit like that.
Lets me further know what it is you really do.
Yo, what it do, y'all? What it do? I'm your host with the motherfucking most, Chill Motherfucking Murray, live from the Spot Podcast. You already know how we do. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Well, not tuning in. You know how we do and how we rap. What it do, everybody? I apologize being late, Glenn. I apologize being late. I kind of wanted to be late on purpose because of we at the gate tonight. So I wanted to sneak into the gate late. I'll say that. Shout out to Fury B. I got to look more into that info on the Hyatt Hotel and the map. I got to look into more info on that. Shout out to Medusa. What it do? Juju. What it do? Norma Dominguez. What it do? Shout out to everybody up there straight from DC. What's goody? Yeah, like I said, I wanted to sneak into the gate late tonight. I didn't want to do things on the radar. I started to even do it tomorrow, but I was like, that's a Monday, so we ain't gonna do that. So I say, let me do it late Sunday night, where hopefully, the government might be asleep. Maybe, I don't know. What is happening, blog? What do, sis? What's good? What's going on? Yeah, like I said, another reason I started it late was because I know a lot of people usually come in here late. I feel like I'll be having a lot of West Coast fans too. So, Fast Life Forever. What's going on? Yeah, I try to catch everybody in the late night now. For some people that actually live on a different coast, of course. And there's people, of course, that like to, just be up late listening to podcasts too. So shout out to everybody once again tuning in. Tonight we're going to get straight into it. We ain't even gonna waste no goddamn time, cause it's still gonna be lengthy but not lengthy. I say that. So I'm in Hawaii. See, that's what I'm saying. Oh wait, Hawaii. Oh man, shout out to Hawaii. Shout out to Hawaii. Yep, see, Cali Bay Area. That's what I feel like. A lot of people was from, I'm saying, the West Coast, because I was like, everybody keeps coming in here late. I'm like, it ain't no way. Ain't no way to let anybody in the East Coast, because the East Coast right now is midnight. So, who that slugger? What's good? All right, so let me make sure I got the right page up here. All right, here we go. So, for those that do not know what Pizzagate is, Pizzagate is Pizzagate, they say, is a conspiracy theory, right? It's actually a conspiracy theory. So Pizzagate redirects here for the 2004 pizza. Let's see. Pizzagate is a conspiracy theory that went viral during the 2016 United States presidential election cycle, falsely claiming that the New York City Police Department had discovered a pedophilia ring linked to members of the Democratic Party. While searching through Anthony Weiner's emails, it has been extensively discredited by a wide range of organizations, including the Washington, D.C. Police. In March 2016, the personal email account of John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chair, was hacked in a spear phishing attack. WikiLeaks published his emails in November 2016. Proponents of the Pizzagate conspiracy theory falsely claimed the emails contained coded messages that connected several high-ranking Democratic Party officials and U.S. restaurants with an alleged human trafficking and child sex ring. One of the establishments allegedly involved was a Comet Ping Pong Pizzeria in Washington, D.C. Seen over here. Supposedly there were, children being abducted and taken into a basement, and spiritual sacrifices were done on these kids. Now, we all know here on this channel that nothing is fucking far-fetched, right? So, I believe that this was actually going on down here. And there's a lot of weird evidence about that as well. And let's see. So, members of the alt-right conservative journalists and others who had urged Clinton's prosecution over her use of an unrelated private email server spread the conspiracy theory on social media outlets such as 4chan, 8chan, Reddit, and Twitter. In response, a man from North Carolina traveled to Comet Ping Pong to investigate the conspiracy and fired a rifle inside the restaurant to break the lock on a door to a storage room. During this search, the restaurant owner and staff also received death threats from conspiracy theorists. Pizzagate is generally considered a predecessor to the QAnon conspiracy theory. Is also generated another offshoot conspiracy theory called Frazzle Drip, which involved Hillary Clinton participating in the ritual murder of a child. Pizzagate resurged in 2020 mainly due to QAnon, while initially it was spread by only the far right. It has since been spread by teens on TikTok who don't otherwise fit a right-wing conspiracy theorist mold. The biggest Pizzagate spreaders on TikTok appear to otherwise be mostly interested in topics of viral dance moves and Black Lives Matter. The conspiracy theory has developed and become less partisan and political in nature, with less emphasis on Clinton and more on the alleged worldwide elite of child sex traffickers. And as we know here on this channel, there's a lot of child sex trafficking. King Osmo, what it do, my brother? What it do? Thank you so much for that article you sent me earlier. We're going to get into some of that. We're going to definitely get into some of that. But yeah, man. Let me see. Let me read some things right here. QAnon. That's I couldn't say it right, and they had the name next to each other. I didn't get to do any research on QAnon just yet. But this Pizzagate thing is a lot bigger than most people actually know about. But what I'm gonna do right now is play a little clip for. Let me see something real quick. Hold on. 7970. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Producer. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you for that. I greatly appreciate you guys for that. And let's see here what we're gonna do. So we're gonna get into this little clip here of Pizzagate. Ooh, in the wrong folder. So this particular clip right here, I'm gonna look at with y'all is from the news actually. See, it says it. Okay, here we go.
One of the big surprises of the presidential campaign was the explosion of fake news on the internet. Fantastic tales that some believe to be true. Well, Chip Reed reports that one phony item led to a dangerous situation in Washington.
28-year-old Edgar Welch was arrested in Washington Sunday afternoon outside Comet Ping Pong, a popular family pizza parlor. D.C. police say Welch fired at least one round into the restaurant floor with an AR-15 rifle like this one on his Facebook page. No one was injured. Police say Welch drove all the way from North Carolina to self-investigate Pizzagate, a fictitious online conspiracy theory. Pizzagate started on the internet shortly before Election Day when right-wing sites that make up fake news spread rumors that Hillary Clinton was involved in a child sex trafficking ring in D.C. Court documents say Welch read online that the Comet restaurant was harboring child sex slaves and he was armed to help rescue them. He surrendered peacefully when he found no evidence that underage children were being harbored in the restaurant. Pizzagate has been pushed by Michael G. Flynn, son of retired Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn, chosen by President-elect Trump to be his national security advisor. The two were seen together at Trump Tower last month. After Welch's arrest Sunday, the younger Flynn tweeted, "Until Pizzagate proven to be false, it'll remain a story." General Flynn himself has also spread stories claiming to link Mrs. Clinton to criminal activity. 6 days before the election, Flynn tweeted, "You decide. NYPD blows whistle on new Hillary emails, money laundering, sex crimes with children, etc. Must read." The story he referred to was fake.
I respect your idea to protest. Please stay all day.
This is not the first time Pizzagate believers have confronted Comet Ping Pong owner James Alefantis. He says he's been getting threats for weeks.
These stories are completely and entirely false. What happened today demonstrates that promoting false and reckless conspiracy theories do come with consequences.
This was a terrifying experience for my children.
Sharif Simley was at Comet Ping Pong with his wife and 3 children when Welch walked in.
This is nothing but, terrorism, and it should be condemned as such.
In addition to the AR-15, Welch was carrying a handgun and a shotgun was found in his car. Scott, he's been charged with multiple offenses.
Chip Reed, thanks.
Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty hectic there. It got pretty hectic at that pizzeria there, but it was more so because people actually started to, believe in this. To my knowledge, there is a lot of evidence out there of, these child trafficking rings. But there's even more further evidence of these, not just celebrities, I should say, but it's more so evidence of politicians that are involved in these child trafficking rings. I mean, even the sex trafficking rings. It's all just related to human trafficking in general. And the human trafficking agenda in general is a very secret one, but important one that people just don't even pay attention to. That's why that whole Pizzagate thing got blown out of proportion. Not blown out of proportion, but that's why that whole Pizzagate thing, got serious the way it did. Especially when you're, like I said, you have the actual evidence of child abductions going on, and then Hillary Clinton is at the center of that shit. Furthermore, of all the evidence we've also had of just humanoid reptilians, even just that part of the conspiracy theory, supposedly. They said it was, it's humanoid reptilians that are doing the sacrificing. So it's like we have actually covered and broke down that shit on this channel here, humanoid reptilians and shapeshifters. So it's not like that's even far fetched. You know what I'm saying? Icon Bonnie, what's goody? What's goody? What's goody? Medusa, we might have to make you the moderator on here. I'll be honest with you. I'm just reading some of the chat right here that's going on too. Speaking of Pizzagate, it reminds me of that Tiffany's ad with Bay, Jay, and Blue ate pizza in the car, and this was after all this. Could you pull it up? Well, see, that's the thing. A lot of celebrities, and I mean a lot of celebrities, have pretty much played on the idea of it. A lot of politicians have even just played on the idea of it. In fact, speaking of playing on the idea of it, speaking of which,
now listen, apparently Alex Jones has been having some technical difficulties with the videos that he created around Pizzagate, particularly the technological difficulties has hit his organization shortly after a man with a gun went into the pizza restaurant in question looking for the secret dungeon which held the children who were part of this pedophile ring. Then somehow the pizza restaurant got rid of its cellar, and there was no cellar by the time he got there. They must have gotten tipped off. But
get rid of the cellar now.
Just
bring the shovels.
But just to help out Alex Jones, we have been able to find the audio of the video that he has had technical difficulties with since that time it came down. The Right Wing Watch noted that that some of his videos have been scrubbed. I wonder. Well, look, one of two things have happened. Either one, they're having technical difficulties, and we owe it to our fellow YouTuber radio host to help out here. Or two, they've got to him. And maybe Alex Jones has turned. Maybe.
Ain't no maybe. This is pretty much when they did get him. So think about this, right? Alex Jones covered Bohemian Grove of all fucking things. He was the original one that covered Bohemian Grove, the original podcaster of all whistleblowers. Then all of a sudden, when the Pizzagate shit happened, he looked like he was a damn robot when he was making his little audio video. And then everybody started to look around and say, "Wait a minute, that don't look like or sound like Alex Jones anymore."
He's now in part of Clinton Inc. I anticipate him.
Like the scene in The Matrix where he's just like, I know this is all fake. This isn't real steak. Those aren't real girls over there, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I love it.
I took the blue pill or the red pill. I took whatever pill was going to keep me here. And then I pulled down this video. Unfortunately, we only have audio of it now.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience.
A message to Hillary.
It's Alex Jones.
You can run on. When I think about all the children Hillary Clinton has personally murdered and chopped up and raped, I have zero fear standing up against her. Yeah, you heard me right. Hillary Clinton has personally murdered children.
Go tell that long-tongued liar.
I just can't hold back the truth anymore. Hillary Clinton is one of the most vicious serial killers the planet's ever seen.
He's really good at radio.
Let me tell you something. I have zero fear in saying this.
Now, see, the crazy thing is, Alex Jones wasn't the only person that started saying this at first. In fact, there was actually a former Secret Service agent that said pretty much similar things.
Joining us right now is former Secret Service agent and the guy who's written the new book called Crisis of Character regarding Hillary Clinton and his time watching Bill Clinton as he worked outside the Oval Office, Gary Byrne. Gary, before we talk a little bit about your new book, which is a runaway bestseller, you were posted in Turkey. Are you surprised that John Huddy is able to get that close? I mean, they've already opened up the airport. We got some live images right there. There's one of the bullet holes right there in the glass.
Yeah. Actually, what you're seeing there is something I actually experienced years ago in the early 1980s when I went to the Ankara airport. There had been an attack in the 70s, and the bullet holes were still there.
Right. It's so important to tell the terrorists we had to go back to business. And they did the same thing in Israel, too. Opened up the cafe hours after.
Notice how early they try to throw him off Hillary Clinton,
The
though.
Turkish mentality is tough. They're strong people, and I wish them the best.
Gary, let's talk about some of what you saw your years as a Secret Service agent with Hillary Clinton in your book that's chronicled in your book, Crisis of Character. First off, you open up talking about Bush 41.
Yes.
And you pretty much echo what many people say, solid class, and you expected to see the same thing in the transition to the Clintons.
Yes.
But who were the Clintons? How was it different?
So when I first started working protecting the Clintons, actually, they were running for office. And we heard all these rumors from Arkansas. And
what rumors?
Rumors about the president affairs and about the state police that protected him being forced to help him facilitate these things.
Troopergate?
Yeah, so that kind of thing. And we also heard these stories about their behavior with each other. Volcanic, dangerous. And actually, I talked to this sheriff down there one time, and I was joking with him. I said, there's no way this guy could ever get elected. And he looked at me like he was looking right through me, and he said, let me tell you something, Gary. Believe everything you hear, and they will get elected.
Wow.
And they'll stay there for 8 years. He said, it is unbelievable. He said they can spin manure in the gold. That's the term.
Gary, the first chapter is called The Vase.
Yes.
What's the Vase story?
So I came to work one morning as a Secret Service Uniform Division officer, and before I went to my post, I went over to see a buddy on the ground floor of the White House, and he had said there had been a huge fight. The first family, Mr. and Mrs. Clinton, had a huge fight upstairs. And I know this sounds like silly, like you were eavesdropping, but you have to put yourself in that position. The White House is huge, it's old, you know, the sound travels right down the stairwells and the elevator shafts. So anyway, he said during the fight there was a crash, and when it was investigated, they found a blue vase. Now, this has been reported before as a lamp, but that's not true. I saw the vase, because after he told me the story, knowing how the White House worked, I walked right down to the curator's office, which was a couple doors down, opened the door and looked in, and there I saw a crushed, broken blue vase in a cardboard box.
In the archives room.
In the curator's office, yes, ma'am.
So then when you saw the president...
Yeah, so later on, the next time I saw the president over at the Oval Office when he came in.
What's crazy is how the more I look at these older clips of Bill Clinton, the more creepier his ass start to look now. Now that we've actually started to look at like humanoid reptilians and whatnot, Bill Clinton looks pretty much like a damn glitch up there. Does he not? Does he even look human now that we've looked at all that before? So as he's even talking about just the weird things that's going on in like the Clinton house and how they even act towards each other, it sounds similar to how they talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce, to where they just pretty much put on this public persona that they're together, but they're not actually together. I remember hearing about that before too with the Clintons, that the Clintons pretty much weren't necessarily together like that. They just pretty much put on a facade like they were married. That's what I always heard about them. So as I'm hearing him talk about that, I'm like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Of course, according to the rumors of them, that they didn't actually get along with each other. They pretty much were just these creeps that were just, put into politician positions. So, furthermore, he looks like Quagmire. That's funny. That's funny as hell. We see this one here.
4 decades ago, before she was a possible presidential candidate, before she was even Hillary Clinton, Hillary Rodham was a 27-year-old trial lawyer in Arkansas with a southern drawl and big ambitions. She was asked by a judge to defend a 42-year-old man accused of raping a 12-year-old girl. Now, Clinton was able to plea bargain down the sentence to just 1 year in prison, which was then reduced to time served. But the victim, who is now 52 years old, is speaking out to the Daily Beast and saying that one of the most famous women in the world put her through hell. She also has a message now for the former Secretary of State.
You lied on me. I just realized the truth of it hard back in '06 after I got out of prison. I just studied a little bit. I realized the truth now, hard of what you done to me. I said to the other man, you're supposed to be it for women? Do you call that for women? What you done to me? And I heard you on tape laughing.
She first spoke out in 2008 in an interview with reporter Glenn Thrush published in Newsday. These new comments come after an audio recording of an interview with Mrs. Clinton from the early 1980s was dug up by the conservative website, the Washington Free Beacon. In that clip, Mrs. Clinton seems to admit she knew the defendant was guilty.
Took a lie detector test. I had the tolerate. When she passed, she forever destroyed my faith in tolerance.
So in the 1975 affidavit, Clinton wrote of the victim, I have been informed that the complainant is emotionally unstable with a tendency to seek out older men and engage in fantasizing. Clinton, as we said, ultimately bargained down the sentence on a technicality involving evidence that was accidentally destroyed. But the victim says her life was ruined as well and now says she's ready to stand up.
When I heard that tape, I was pretty upset. I went back to the room and was talking to my two cousins, and I cried a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Some of this has got me pretty down, but I thought to myself, I'm gonna stand up to her. I'm gonna stand up to what I gotta stand up for, you know.
Josh Rogan is a senior correspondent for national security and politics at the Daily Beast. He spoke with the victims. Josh gave us these tapes. He broke this part of the story and joins me now, along with CNN legal analyst Paul Callan. Josh, I want to start with you here. You know, what can you tell me about this woman?
Well, this woman has had a tough life since the fateful events of 1974. She struggled with the injuries that she sustained, years of therapy, anger issues. She battled drug addiction. She spent some time in prison. She lives on disability in Arkansas, unemployed. She never got married. She never had any children. She doesn't attribute this all to those events, but she said it definitely contributed to her life kind of spiraling out of control, from which she never recovered. She was never really upset with Hillary Clinton or Hillary Clinton's actions in this case until she learned very recently, because of the documents and videos revealed that you just pointed out, that Hillary Clinton had accused her of some sort of culpability in her own attack. And then when she heard the tape of Hillary Clinton laughing about her attacker's guilt, she decided that she just couldn't take it anymore, and she wanted to put her side of the story out in the public for the record.
So she heard how
Hillary's evil, and I know, you know, I think she's a warmonger. I don't expect the world to change with Hillary Clinton. You know,
D, what's good?
We're all going for climate change. I'm not pro-Trump. If I would be American, I would not vote for either of them.
Well, what would you
I would
do?
not be able to vote for either of them, except if there's a green person. I would vote for a green person.
But Vivian, we are going to get a Trump or a Hillary, and
Yeah,
they're,
of course.
you know, one of the most
I wouldn't
powerful
know
nations.
which is the best.
So which, if you had to pick one or the other?
Well, I won't do that, and I wouldn't even pick Barack Obama over them either, because the people are applying the terrible, rotten financial system. There's no difference between them. If they apply that system, which is about war, and she's very, very warmongering person, Hillary Clinton. So it's about war and about, you know, about killing everything on the planet, actually, through climate change. They don't want the rotten financial system changed. You know, so there's no choice between them. You cannot choose. They're all the same.
Very true. Very, very true. So, and that's the thing. It with Hillary Clinton, it was always, I mean, hell, when we saw the Iron Sky movie, right? We saw a complete depiction of Hillary Clinton in there as a humanoid reptilian, but there's always been rumors about her being super evil behind the scenes. Besides, I'm trying to think, Queen Elizabeth. Besides Queen Elizabeth, so stumbled upon a couple of things about Hillary Clinton, but one of the main things that made me curious was shout out to King Ozma, who sent me this Reddit article in which it talked about Diddy, Oprah Winfrey, and Queen Latifa had actually was involved with something with Laura Silsby in Haiti during the Haiti earthquake, helped Haiti during the 8th earthquake thing, and supposedly they had went over there, and that's it was another part of the child trafficking thing where they had went over there. Diddy had went over there, of course. Oprah had went over there, and Queen Latifah had went over there. They were supposed to be hosting Diddy. All right, so let me pull up the article real quick. So Diddy and Queen Latifah to host BT Haiti concert. Let me pull this up here. Says Diddy, Queen Latifah to host BT Haiti concert. Sean Diddy Combs, Queen Latifah, and Pharrell are set to host a 2-hour concert at Telethon to benefit Haiti on February 5th. So Wyclef Jean, Chris Brown, Lil Wayne will perform. The concert is titled SOS Saving Ourselves, Help for Haiti. It will be held at the American Airlines Arena in Miami and will air live on BET. Now, supposedly Oprah Winfrey was also going there as well. But what stuck out to me was this article that let me see, where's the Google part that I found out right here? Here it goes. So I stumbled upon this looking up pictures of Laura Silsby, who actually was accused of being there. And then I found this as well. Clinton Foundation tied to child trafficker Laura Silsby. Now, if you don't know who Laura Silsby is, New Life Children's Refuge case. So the New Life Children's Refuge case was an incident of alleged kidnapping and the ensuing legal cases which occurred in the aftermath of the January 12, 2010 Haiti earthquake. On January 29, 2010, a group of 10 American Baptist missionaries from Idaho attempted to cross the Haiti-Dominican Republic border with 33 Haitian children. The group, known as the New Life Children's Refuge, did not have proper authorization for transporting the children and were arrested on kidnapping charges. The missionaries denied any wrongdoing and claimed that they were rescuing orphans and leading them to a Dominican hotel, which was being transformed into an orphanage. 9 of the 10 missionaries were later released, but NLCR founder Laura Silsby remained incarcerated in Haiti. By the time she went to trial on May 13th, the charges had been reduced to arranging irregular travel, and the prosecution sought a 6-month prison term. On May 17th, she was found guilty and sentenced to the time served in jail prior to the trial. And then, like I said, I found out that Miss Clinton was actually tied to the foundation of it. Hillary Clinton and her husband running a sex trafficking ring through orphan children in Haiti. And this came from the Washington Standard. The Clintons, Laura Silsby, Haiti Amber Alerts, and human trafficking. There is no doubt that Bill and Hillary Clinton are at the center of a major human trafficking ring, including sex trafficking. But how many remember a woman by the name of Laura Silsby? Silsby, now known as Laura Silsby Gaylor, was jailed for the kidnapping of 33 children in Haiti and eventually wound up working for the company that put our Amber Alerts. Isn't that something? Same woman that was involved in sex and the human trafficking ends up being the woman that puts out our Amber Alerts, which were said to be notifications to warn of children who were missing or kidnapped. However, she was provided assistance by none other than Bill and Hillary Clinton to get that position. Isn't that something right there? So, contrary to reports in the media, the crowdsourced investigation labeled by some as Pizzagate did not begin with internet sleuths digging through the WikiLeaks Podesta files releases looking for pizza parlors in coded language discussing human trafficking. So here's another thing, right? Because I was looking up the Podesta files and there's a shit ton of emails. Like, we're talking about 33,000 emails here. I haven't looked through all 840 pages of this shit yet. I'm just telling y'all now. So I eventually will get through some of this. Daily Bread, what's good? What's good? Kimberly Ann, what's good? What's good? I will eventually get through. Overthoughts, what's up? What's up? I will eventually get through some of those more of those emails, but for the most part, they are pretty much coded. So that's another thing too. It's breaking down the coding that they're talking about in there. That's going to take me a couple of weeks as far as breaking down certain things that they were actually saying in the emails that would let you know that, hey, they were bringing this person here or transporting this person there. It wasn't too many funny emails. It wasn't too many funny emails that made me say, okay, hey, this could be child trafficking. You know what I mean? but it was a shit ton of John Podesta emails that did get leaked. And needless to say, the ones that were going to Hillary Clinton, those are the ones that's a little bit harder to find within here. So you see her like our we call it CC'd ones that's in here, and like the one pager one. I'll just read you this one right here. So it's pretty much nothing here. See what I mean? So even the ones that are CC'd to her, they pretty much archive those, and it was a little bit harder to see those. So like I said, I have to dig a little bit deeper and looking into the actual emails of these here, because like I said, it was a lot of emails to actually dig through. So yeah, that's where Koch Industries has their headquarters. So let's see, are they based in Wichita? New one, really great, funny or die video out mocking the Koch brothers. Climate change denial. Hope the Koch brothers are enjoying this in Wichita, where it's 22 degrees above the average December temperature. Sounds good. We will be back with more later in the day. And this from there's another one from Mila Fisher. This message cannot be displayed because of the way it is formatted. Ask to send it again. Like I said, it was just a lot of shit in here that you could see but couldn't see when it came to looking at Hillary Clinton's emails. But let's see here. Now, I guess we can get into the actual movie now. So there was a movie made called the Pizzagate Massacre trailer that pretty much was depicting what was going on in Washington, where that pizzeria comment got shot up. So we can actually look at that movie real quick. Oh, matter of fact, before I do that.
Let's go back to the Golden Globes for a second. Oprah is now being criticized for her speech that night by a very unlikely star.
Me too.
3 days after Oprah publicly supported victims of sexual assault in the wake of numerous allegations against Harvey Weinstein, singer Seal Instagrammed this meme. Showing Winfrey kissing the disgraced mogul, it reads, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution."
Please welcome Seal!
The 54-year-old who's appeared on Oprah's show captioned his post, "Oh, I forgot, that's right. You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses. My bad." While Weinstein maintains his innocence, Seal hasn't commented further, and Oprah has not responded.
This moment is a really powerful time for everybody to get woke.
Fans have come to her defense, pointing out Winfrey is a sexual assault survivor. They also posted pics of Seal's ex, Heidi Klum, kissing Weinstein too.
How are you?
I am here.
Today on Ellen, Oprah was busy dealing with the aftermath of a natural disaster.
The neighbors out back, their houses are gone.
The celeb neighbors FaceTimed as Winfrey showed the devastation and rescue efforts after deadly mudslides hit their Montecito, California enclave.
We're going to do what great Americans do all the time. We're going to help each other. We're going to help each other out wherever
Yes, we
needed.
are.
Sure thing, Oprah. Sure thing.
Oprah shuts down sex trafficking arrest rumors. The media mogul takes to Twitter to respond to awful rumors stating she had been arrested. After finding out her name was trending on social media, she decided to address the rumors. Oprah tweets, "Just got a phone call that my name is trending and being trolled for some awful fake thing. It's not true. Haven't been raided or arrested. Just sanitizing and self-distancing with the rest of the world. Stay safe."
Sure thing, Oprah. Sure thing. And Oprah, actually has a school, I believe, in Haiti, doesn't she? There was a lot of things that were going on in that school as far as abuse. I remember there was a clips that was going on with a teacher that was abusing the kids there as well. And Oprah for a while hadn't done shit about it. I definitely believe, like I said, that there is a huge child trafficking ring, especially going on internationally. When I have to think about, say, Angelina Jolie. Supposedly adopting kids. When I have to think about Madonna supposedly adopting kids. It's a lot of celebrities I could think of that were supposedly adopting kids and pretty much were said to be a part of this child trafficking ring as well. So it's not like this whole Pizzagate thing is far fetched. And if we're thinking about, what do they keep? What do they even? You heard Tupac on the skit yesterday. Got celebrities fucking babies and whatnot. But furthermore, it's this whole thing about the adrenochrome. It's more so to do with that adrenochrome that we keep talking about that keeps coming up. That's really what Pizzagate is all about. So let me go here real quick. Let's go to the definition of it real quick. So adrenochrome is a chemical compound produced by the oxidation of adrenaline. Pretty much, I guess you want to say a form of sweat almost. It was the subject of limited research from the 1950s through to the 1970s as a potential cause of schizophrenia. While it has no current medical application, the semicarbazide derivative carbazochrome is a hemostatic medication. But let me bring up this article here for y'all. And I believe we looked at this article before as well. Johnny Depp shows you in fear, loathing in Las Vegas. The Dark Ages were the dark virility of Hollywood blood harvesting conspiracy. So the Dark Ages were rife with plague, fanaticism, and accusations that Jews secretly fed off the blood of children. In 2020, we too are beset with plague, rampant medical misinformation, and a persistent rumor that global elites torture children to harvest the chemical adrenochrome from their blood, which they inject in order to stay healthy and young. A favorite topic of interconnected QAnon and Pizzagate conspiracy communities, so-called adrenochrome harvesting long predates these groups. It has, however, resurrected during the COVID-19 pandemic. Google Trends shows significant spikes in searches for adrenochrome in March and June of 2020. It's prevalent on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Reddit removed a dedicated adrenochrome subreddit on July 30th. On Friday, July 31st, conspiracy theorists plan to hold the first Child Lives Matter protest in Hollywood to expose child trafficking, advertising the event with references to adrenochrome. The adrenochrome harvesting conspiracy theory is a potent example of hidden virility and the ways in which unpopular culture animates social media platforms outside of the mainstream view. Named by researchers Britt Paris and Joan Donovan, hidden virility describes dominant content in specific pockets of the internet that are largely unseen by journalists and mass audiences, making them difficult for social media companies to identify and act upon. The impact of hidden virility can't be stopped by retroactively banning a few thousand Twitter accounts. It is an iterative mimetic phenomenon that outpaces terms of service, even with early intervention by Reddit and recent movements by Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok to crack down on QAnon. Adrenochrome harvesting remains a mainstream conversation for some online communities. So let's read the rest of this here. So toxic social attitudes spread virility alongside hoax and disinformation. Adrenochrome harvesting isn't outwardly blamed on Jews, but on satanic and globalist elites. Dog whistle terms for the far right, the modern adrenochrome obsession is a permutation of blood libel, an anti-Semitic myth, and pervaded Europe throughout the Middle Ages and mutated strain of medical misinformation. So the lineage of the new blood libel. The most effective conspiracy theories are built around kernels of truth. Adrenochrome is a compound that occurs in the body, but about which little scientific research has been done beyond a few studies in the mid-20th century on whether it could play a role in schizophrenia. The question transfixed the writers Aldous Huxley and Hunter S. Thompson, who were obsessed with the mind-altering substances. To them, adrenochrome became psychotropic, akin to mescaline, and his famous Doors of Perception, written just after the first adrenochrome studies. Huxley described the adrenochrome as a clue that was being systematically followed. The sleuths, biochemists, psychiatrists, psychologists are on the trail, he wrote. Biologists didn't find much of interest. So nearly 20 years later, Thompson cast adrenochrome as a psychedelic that must be violently extracted from human glands in his novel Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So as you just said, Johnny Depp showed you in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, right? The scene was immortalized in Terry Gilliam's 1998 film. A YouTube clip of Johnny Depp's character taking adrenochrome, which to date has more than 1.7 million views, has drawn thousands of comments referencing the conspiracy. Thompson is explicitly invoked in what seems to be the earliest recorded post about adrenochrome harvesting on 4chan's Twitter and poll boards in 2013 and 2014, respectively. In an anti-Semitic 4chan poll thread, an anonymous poster linked a restricted, unsearchable video named Jew Ritual Blood Libel Sacrifice is Adrenochrome Harvesting. Within these same online communities, Pizzagate formalized and grew in 2015 to 2016 before spreading to more mainstream social media. In 2016, the same video was shared in Pizzagate thread about the artist Marina Abramovic in her spirit cooking ceremonies. The next several months saw increasingly outlandish claims online, particularly the Pixar film Monsters, Inc. was a cryptic reference to adrenochrome harvesting. As some Pizzagate adherents entered the burgeoning QAnon community in 2017, they brought the adrenochrome conspiracy theory with them. So who knew that Monsters, Inc. was pretty much about Pizzagate also? But we all know Disney and Pixar always throw a little shit in there. So like I said, we're going to definitely go through Disney one day. This is literally the speech from the end of Metal Gear Solid 2. So that isn't that something though? And we always talked about how video games have this predictive programming of the information that's from the government in there. So yeah, Disney always shows it in the Monsters, Inc. So that's another thing, right? Disney doesn't necessarily hide their, worshiping of Freemasonry and their occultist, agendas. They've never been known to actually hide it. So, as you just said, Fast Life Forever, what it do, by the way. Zoe Childs, what's good? As you just said, they even described it right here. So, I didn't necessarily, I should have pulled that clip up, matter of fact, because I didn't even think about that there are a lot of, so let me just do this real quick, right? Matter of fact, let me just pull it up, because there are celebrities that, once again, shout out to the homie King Ozma. There are celebrities that have this adrenochrome addiction. Let me see. Is it the I? Addiction, where is it? Celebrity. There it is. Okay, here it is. So you see this right here? This is supposedly a sign that a person has an adrenochrome addiction to them. And look who it is. You have Jennifer Lopez, Adam Sandler of all people. So they're not just eye diseases. It's not just a black eye when you see these celebrities with this. These people are addicts for the most part of this adrenochrome. All these celebrities, they're pretty much adrenochrome addicts. Some people would think these are black eyes, and then, of course, none of these people are, victims of domestic violence. They're just adrenochrome addicts. And as we just seen and, went over, this child trafficking ring thing is very real. So now it all makes sense of what it actually is. The child trafficking ring is used to pretty much harvest the adrenochrome to then help these celebrities pretty much be ageless. That's what it's starting to come down to. This adrenochrome hustle is pretty much the the immortality medicine. These addicts are taking it pretty much to try to look younger and younger. So then when I see a person like, Drake looking very aged at a Michael Rubin party, it only makes me wonder even further why Kendrick decided to drop Not Like Us, in which there was a scene in the video we went over last night of human trafficking. With the shipping containers, they were all white. One of them even read Barbados on it, which would link down to Rihanna being trafficked. And this whole human trafficking ring, like I said, it seems to be more so about adrenochrome and, drug smuggling. So before we look at a few other things here, before we look at the movie here, one other thing that I stumbled upon with Hillary Clinton. And this is where it gets really weird. This is where it gets weird.
I'm Richie Rojas, and this is the New Balance 666 Clinton autographed sneaker. I bought this sneaker on eBay. The seller wanted like $300. I talked her down to $200. It was autographed by Hillary and Bill Clinton back in '92 at a Susan G. Komen fundraiser, and this was just a few months before Bill Clinton was elected president, so pretty cool and unique. New Balance used to name their shoes by numbers, and it was like the higher the number was kind of like the next level of support or stability or technology. I think it's weird that New Balance named a model 666. I don't know, I think it's pretty funny and pretty awesome, but there's certain numbers you just avoid, 69, 13 maybe, I don't know. Her and Bill signed it. They gave the mark of the devil the mark of their approval, I guess. So the shoe itself, there's a ton of padding in here. It's very fragile. It's only one shoe. The soles is dry rotted and crumbling. I'm pretty worried about these autographs actually, because it looks like they're done in Sharpie and you could see bits of them are already falling off. But here's Bill Clinton right here, and on the other side is Hillary Rodham Clinton. This New Balance shoe came out in the era where like the fitness craze was taking over the industry, so every brand had kind of like these all white or all black leather aerobics cross training shoes. So here's one of New Balance's takes on that. It's pretty plain, just all leather, some perforated holes here, a lot of double stitching. The flashiest thing really is the silver logo on the back and the silver NB666 on the tongue. Even the main logo is pretty minimal here. I'd say a lot of the shoes from this era from New Balance are pretty much as deteriorated as this one is. I have some from that era that have held up pretty well, but it's pretty normal for a shoe to be this old and in this condition. That's any brand, like Nike, Adidas, whatever. Even bits of the sole are kind of coming off my fingers, even just holding it. Part of me thinks they should belong to New Balance Archive because I feel like they might take better care of the shoe than me. Like the autographs are on the sole and the soles are kind of crumbling right now. So I'm trying to figure out a way to preserve them. I think they would be pretty cool in New Balance's archive up in Massachusetts.
But bruh, somebody explain to me why you got a devil shoe with 666 on it. Somebody explain that. So Diddy has a book? Diddy has a book on adrenochrome as well, you saying? Interesting. Let's see here. Oh. Oop. Let's see. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Zoe Childs. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Zoe. Will you look at that? Shout out to Zoe for that find right there. This is why I love having a chat. Diddy has an actual book called The Adrenochrome Witch, and it says by Sean Diddy Combs. It's for $100. It says Adrenochrome Witch is a true story about the elite secret society and their bizarre eternal youth rituals, not for the faint of heart. And it says you can't buy it anymore. But it's a real book. Unbelievable. Oh, so this is a real excerpt from the book. The Adrenochrome Witch. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to that real quick. That was a real excerpt from the book. Let me get it again. Let's see if I can bring it up real quick. That was a real excerpt. So once upon a time in the land of Hollywood, many women came into acting careers and were exposed to higher authorities who didn't know God or accept the Lord Jesus Christ into their hearts as their eternal Savior. Many of these women started off innocent and had good intentions when they entered the world of Hollywood and the elite. These women were subjected to people thought they could have anything in life they wanted because they felt they could purchase anything with money. One of the most coveted things many of these women wanted was eternal youth. They tried many beauty creams like ones made by Estee Lauder Chanel oil of Olay. They even used Dove cream soap daily. Interesting. Okay, so this is the other part right here I was looking for. Many of them made $1 million per episode, had so much money, they felt they could have anything in the world they desired, including everlasting youth. They started seeking out ways to have eternal youth. Women would start losing their self-esteem and self-love when they would see young, pretty blondes at the studios catching the eyes of their studio executive husbands. This affected them so much that many of them lost all of their moral fiber if they had any to begin with, so seek out eternal beauty at the expense of innocent children. These women started attending elite secret parties the best way. Now, what makes me nervous about that is when I have to think about how Angela Bassett looks still, when I have to think about how Oprah looks still, hell, even Ellen DeGeneres. Like, there's a lot of people I could think of. He definitely a warlock and more. Y'all funny as hell. This is just Diddy diary. Possibly so. I definitely believe Diddy might be a warlock, though. I definitely believe he's a warlock as well. Night, what's good? What's good? Oh, this is Madman 90. What's up? What's up? Okay. Yes, very much all connected. This is very much all connected as well. This is very much all connected. I almost forgot what I was about to. Okay, yeah. So I almost lost track. Where I was about to go to. So while we have this in thought here, we might as well, before I play the movie, because I was going to get to the Pizzagate movie, but now that we've seen that, and we pretty much have a gauge on what this adrenochrome thing really is about. It's pretty much more so about the female secret societies. Sandra Bullock looks disgusting. She used to look beautiful, and that's the thing. See, I really do think that these women have just become adrenochrome addicts as well as other celebrities. But let's look at this, what I found here.
They're one of the most secretive organizations in the world.
There are certain secrets that you have to...
So this is the secret world of the female Freemasons. Now, I figured it would make sense for us to look at this, considering we were covering Hillary Clinton this evening, as well as if we're going to be covering, how these women have pretty much been harvesting this adrenochrome to, stay beautiful, it seems. We might as well take a little bit of a deep dive into the secret world of the female Freemasons, seeing as how we've covered before the wife of the CIA government assassin.
Burn.
Famous for unexplained rituals.
Where were you first prepared to be a Freemason?
In my heart.
Describe the mode of your preparation.
My right arms, left breast, and knee made bare.
There has been this notion that we somehow use goats in our rituals because we're somehow satanic.
And they face regular accusations of corruption.
There are people who are genuinely afraid to declare that they are Freemasons.
They're no more corrupt than anybody else.
Whenever anything bad happens, there are a whole horde of people who are digging to see whether Freemasonry was involved.
All the men in my family are Freemasons. I'm the only girl to go into Masonry. If a man can do it, so can I.
For the first time, we've been given access inside this highly secretive society to find out the truth behind the intrigue.
We have nothing to hide that's sinister. We're not trying to take over the world, despite all these conspiracy theorists.
The Freemasons are a secretive society that practice rituals in a temple and promote brotherly love. Although they have always been associated with men, we've gained access to the two female Freemason groups in the UK, the Order of Women Freemasons and the Honourable Fraternity of Ancient Freemasons.
This looks like any other leafy street in central London, but this is the international headquarters of one of the most secretive and mysterious organisations in the world, and for the first time, they're exclusively opening the doors to us.
This is the Order of Women Freemasons. There's a meeting today for the quarterly communication of Grand Lodge, where only members of a certain rank can attend.
The Most Worshipful the Grand Master, Christine Chapman.
And this is the second group we've been given access to, the Honourable Fraternity of Ancient Freemasons.
Right Worshipful Assistant Grand Master, whom do you represent?
Hiram, Prince of Architects, Most Worshipful the Grand Master.
And your duty?
To lay plans, draw designs, and assist the Most Worshipful the Grand Master in the execution of her work.
Christine Chapman, a former bookkeeper, is hoping to be re-elected for the top job of Grand Master for another 4 years.
The Grand Master has to lead and guide the fraternity, and she has to provide direction. She is the person with whom the buck stops. If there's any problems, she takes ultimate responsibility for everything, and she is the head of the fraternity.
The female Freemasons were formed in 1908. Their male counterparts have been meeting for at least 300 years. Their practices involve secret handshakes, rolling up their trouser legs, wearing blindfolds, and even nooses around their necks. They are currently headed up by the Queen's cousin, the Duke of Kent. But Freemasons have been accused of favouritism, helping each other rise up the career ladder and covering up each other's mistakes.
The Home Affairs Committee have already called for greater openness.
In 1997, there were calls from former Home Secretary Jack Straw for officers and judges to make voluntary disclosures about their membership. By 2009, he scrapped the rule after the Masons threatened to take the government to court.
There are people who are genuinely afraid to declare that they are Freemasons because of the public perception that somehow means that they're a corrupt individual or that they're somebody who is a little bit dodgy. And that's categorically not the case. I would say quite the opposite is true.
Over the years, there's been a negative reputation that's been around Freemasonry, specifically male Freemasons, about corruption and maybe favours going on. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. What would you say to that? Does that still happen?
I would say that you are categorically not allowed to use your membership of Freemasonry for either financial advantage or personal advantage in that way. It's very much frowned upon by us. It's something which we do not tolerate at all within our organisation.
I've been a Freemason for over 40 years and nobody's ever offered me a favour, and I've never offered anybody else a favour. You hear the stories, certainly. I've not come across it in Freemasonry at all. We've had the odd person that we've had to ask to leave us. Since I've been Grand Master, only one person, where their behaviour was not suitable for a Freemason.
So what did they do for their behaviour not to be?
They were convicted in court of a criminal act.
Many people associate Freemasonry with secrecy and mystery. Why do you think that is?
If it was all written out and publicised for everybody to read, there would be no point in anybody joining it because there'd be nothing special left for them to discover.
You say it's to ensure that it feels special.
Yes.
But people could view that as there being something to hide.
No, this is the problem. But we have nothing to hide that's sinister. We're not trying to take over the world, despite all these conspiracy theories on the internet. And we're not trying to overthrow the government or anything like that.
Do you think, if it comes down to it, that it might be better to remove that element of surprise?
No, I don't think so.
But even if it might mean a bad reputation for Freemasonry?
We need to preserve an element of secrecy for that reason only, because that's what makes it special.
Has Freemasonry helped your career?
No. I worked in accounts departments as bookkeepers and so on, a bookkeeper. So no chance.
The police in particular have been heavily linked with Freemasonry.
Is there any truth in police officers who are Freemasons helping people get away with crimes?
Not that I've ever seen. We don't have many police officers in the Order of Women Freemasons. We do have some, I know, but I've not seen anybody being helped in that way, so I can only speak from my own experience.
Have you heard of Freemasons doing favours for each other?
Yes, I have in the old days, many years ago. But that was mainly in the men, and they were rooted out as corrupt.
What sort of favours would they be?
Oh, you would get policemen and who were Freemasons doing favours for other members.
Because there's this view that sort of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
No, it's not allowed. It really isn't. It's really forbidden in our rituals not to do. You mustn't do that.
And have you ever heard about that ever happening here?
Not in women's Freemasonry, no.
Most merciful Grand Master, I wish you health, happiness and success in the glorious work you are doing for women.
Female Freemasonry began in 1908
possessing and working the same secrets, mysteries, degrees, and rituals.
I don't know about y'all,
In
but
1908.
if I was to ever see this chick right here, I would be running for the goddamn hills. She looked like Killer Croc out this motherfucker. I'm just saying. That looked like a damn reptilian right there. But yeah, shout out to Zoe Childs for for the information too of the adrenochrome book that Diddy has written, because it seems that, you know, it's more so about the women in these secret societies more than it is so the men. Seeing as how, you know, their world is more kept a secret behind the scenes than anything. It's literally the only insensitive lady. It just conspiracy. And see, that's another thing, right? As that woman was talking, we could already tell that, you know, the main thing about Freemasonry is that they're going to go around whatever you ask them. So regardless if she was telling the truth or not, I can tell she was lying, number one. Number two, the connections of Freemasonry, even down to, you know, the early the early 1700s, Freemasonry has always been about connection. It's always been about connection and pretty much helping one person rise above the next. That's always what Freemasonry has been about. So her even lying, saying that they're not doing that in female Freemasonry, was just a crock of shit.
And working the same secrets, mysteries, degrees, and rituals.
But the society separated, creating the two groups that exist today.
We broke away from the main group in 1913 because of a difference of opinion, and we have stayed separate ever since. Although we are now on much more friendly terms, in the old days they didn't even speak to each other. So.
With an ageing membership, the women are turning to universities to bring in younger members.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe that day's finally come. It's surreal.
After joining the Freemasons 7 years ago, today optician Roshni Patel will have a ceremony to mark her reaching the rank of a Master Mason.
I actually don't know what happens.
Let's hear who she was again.
Reaching the rank of a... After joining the Freemasons 7 years ago, today optician Roshni Patel will have a ceremony to mark her reaching the rank of a Master Mason.
Okay, so she's an optician. And of course she's, they're all a gang. And of course she's a Master Freemason. So she's been pretty much, you know, up through the ranks, as you will. Several years being there.
I actually don't know what happens. I don't know what will happen. I know the beginning of the ceremony, obviously the ending of the ceremony, but as to me being put in the chair, I don't know. That's a secret. That's a mystery.
Despite opening the doors to our cameras, they're not letting us film everything. The Order of Women Freemasons have not allowed us to film inside Roshni's ceremony in the temple.
This is our grand temple.
Tonight, there's obviously a ceremony that's going on that we can't get access to. Tell us why you wouldn't want us to see
Because
things.
you haven't earned it. Roshni has gone through all these offices, all the way through the chair. She's learnt pieces of ritual, she's worked hard. She must have been working for 5 or 6 years to achieve the installation into this chair. And her reward for that is to be given a beautiful ceremony. So Roshni would be sitting in this chair down here at the moment before she gets to progress up into that chair.
What does one need to do to prove themselves?
Each degree is like a little play, and it's all learned by heart and recited. So you have to learn your part in it and do it well, come to every meeting, be there and be part of the team and do your part, and if you're good, then you get moved on to the next step up. In the lodge that's meeting tonight, they will have a first degree, a second degree, and a third degree, and a ceremony of installation. So that's 4 rituals. And then you can go on to other degrees 33 in all, if you keep going to the very top. Yeah.
At the Honourable Fraternity of Ancient Freemasons.
Now, understand this, right? Remember what we always said about Freemasonry. They always answer questions by just going around them. One of the main questions that have been asked about them is, do you guys do any type of, spiritual rituals at all? They say no. She literally said ritual.
Dear Lazaza Nikela is about to pass on to another rank in the society called the second degree.
I'm feeling very happy. I feel confident. I am excited. I'm not nervous, I'm happy.
You'll be hearing the questions and answers shortly. Now, that, I would say, is the most secret thing that happens in our fraternity.
Brethren.
But we're not allowed to see everything. We've got strict instructions on what we can and can't film.
Assist me to open the lodge.
Dear Lazaza is being asked a series of questions. Each answer provides an insight into this secret organisation.
Where were you first prepared to be a Freemason?
In my heart.
Where next?
In an inconvenient room, I joined the lodge.
Describe the mode of your preparation.
I divested all monies and the valuables. My right arm, left breast, and knee made bare. My right leg slipped short, and the cable too, and the ran loose upon my neck.
Is that what happens in the initiation?
Yes. It's a symbolic way of dressing someone for a degree, and it all has different meanings, what it represents.
How do you demonstrate proof of your being a Freemason to others?
By sign, token, and the perfect pointing interest.
What would a sign be? I took that to be maybe a handshake.
No, it's a particular type of sign which demonstrates that you are one of those degrees that I described. And the token is the special handshake that you would give to demonstrate that you have reached that degree.
So do you use secret handshakes?
Yes, absolutely. Of course we do.
Can you do it with me now?
No, it's a secret.
What happens and when would you do it?
It's a secret. You'll have to join and find out. Then I'll tell you all about it.
Right. And when would you use the special handshake?
Within the ceremonies, there are certain methods. Yeah, grips. Yeah, they're called grips. But I wouldn't use it outside a lodge room, never.
Why not?
It's not necessary. If you're shaking hands, no. That's nonsense. That's silly.
At the Order of Women Freemasons, it's a big moment for Roshni as one of their youngest members. We've heard the ceremony is almost over and Roshni is about to appear as a master of the lodge.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a lovely ceremony.
I don't know how I feel. I think I'm in shock. I think there's a bit of denial going on, but thank you. The whole process of me being put into the chair, that was very emotional, especially by all my lodge members who I really care about. So, yeah.
At the Honourable Fraternity of Ancient Freemasons, there's a problem with the votes.
If somebody had made a mess of it and decided to photocopy it,
No, they had to photocopy it first.
it's void. Then it's
They're
void.
After fears some of the votes had been spoiled, they've now been recounted and the new Grand Master is about to be announced.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, I'm pleased to announce that you, Most Worshipful Grand Master, have been elected as Grand Master.
The result was close, but I eventually came through, and I'm now going to be the next Grand Master. In other words, I'm continuing as Grand Master for another 4 years.
Although we were given exclusive access, we still only gained a glimpse of the workings of this secret society. There was a lot that was off limits to us. Both groups of female Freemasons dismissed all allegations of corruption. But to shake this negative reputation and gain more members, they may need to be more transparent in future.
Well, and we all know Hillary Clinton is definitely already a Freemason. a female Freemason, if you will. At that. We don't necessarily have to deep dive into that one. Because in order for her to even possibly become president at one point, she would have had to been a female Freemason. Every single president that has ever stepped through the ranks in an election has had to go through some type of Freemasonry ritual to actually even get elected, or initiated, I should say, into presidency. Let me see if I can even oh, that was another thing I was looking at real quick too. So we're not new to indoctrination, right? We're not new to indoctrination and things. What I mean by that is, so I think it was Fury B that mentioned Metal Gear Solid 2 earlier with video games. So been playing NBA 2K25 lately. And like I said, if we're talking about indoctrination in something and people starting to get used to things and predictive programming, let's say they want to get you used to seeing reptilians, right? What better way to do it than put it inside of a video game? So they actually have this as an actual skin that you could win in 2K25 this year. It's an actual reptilian face skin. Now, it doesn't stop there, as separately, they've also made it so you can get the damn eyes to go with it. And this was just season 1 of this year. So I can only imagine the different things that they're going to be implementing this year as well in the game. 26 likes, 35 watching. Thank you so much, Miss Producer. Thank you so much once again. So another person that, you know, knows about Pizzagate, but pretty much played in on it was Elon Musk, who was playing around with Twitter, you know, the company he owns.
Elon Musk seems to be diving back into conspiracy theories. He recently tweeted and since deleted a meme that it was at least a little suspicious that an expert that debunked the Pizzagate conspiracy theory had gone to jail for child porn. Another post, Musk linked to an AP article about an ABC News journalist who pleaded guilty to federal child pornography charges, though there was seemingly no connection between that journalist and Pizzagate.
Twitter users were quick to bring up Musk's own connections to dubious characters. One user posted a side-by-side with Musk's tweet and a picture of Musk with Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell, of course, was the right-hand man of Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, I don't know why Elon Musk is really interested in Pizzagate these days.
It's particularly strange, one, because the meme doesn't make sense. There's no no connection between the person.
I guess some journalist had wrote an article saying Pizzagate was made up, and later that person is the accusation. I'm not sure who this person is, but was convicted of sexual misconduct or underage sexual misconduct. I don't know.
No, there's no connection between the journalist and Pizzagate. I don't think that journalist even wrote about Pizzagate.
Okay.
I just think it's a random journalist who happens to have child pornography and convicted of child pornography. And then also over here, there's a thing called Pizzagate. So people are obviously concerned about it, for one, because, you know, conspiracy around Pizzagate led someone to taking a gun and shooting within the restaurant where Pizzagate was supposed to have happened. There is already evidence of theorizing on this point leading to actual violence and threats. So one might, as the largest user on Twitter and someone who's very influential, at least be very careful when making these kinds of statements.
Yeah,
and not be patently inaccurate when making these kinds of statements.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, there's no accuracy to those statements. Also, people, I don't know, the right has gotten very into this whole child sex trafficking narrative that, frankly, is a plot to give law enforcement more power to surveil us and should be treated very skeptically, in my view. Of course, there are some victims of sexual crimes out there. A lot of crimes against children in general and sexual crimes are committed by family members. The whole, like, your child being kidnapped off the street by a stranger, which happens in TVs and movies, virtually never happens in real life. It's like one of the rarest categories of crime there is. All kids that are taken, virtually all of them, are in some kind of custody dispute or they're runaways. Some of the runaways, yes, enter prostitution, and it's really bad, and we should, that's illegal, and they can arrest if they're falling into bad situations with people who are pressuring them into it. They should absolutely, those people can face jail. Some people have this idea that children are just grabbed left and right, and we need to put vastly more law enforcement resources toward this project that will ultimately be about growing the government to do more surveillance and censorship.
I mean,
it's very bad. Why a lot of libertarian Republican members of Congress voted against FOSTA, SESTA, and all those national bills that were ostensibly aimed at combating these things.
Sure, but there also seems to be specifically, I will say, maybe you can speak to this, conservative energy around child sex trafficking, child exploitation, and specifically that you see come out in the hype around movies like Sound of Freedom, right? Mm-hmm. There's and Pizzagate, this idea that we are moral and religious and conservative socially here on the right. They're lascivious and perverted on the left, and that's part of why you should not join their political operation or movement. At the same time that you had the Sound of Freedom movie guy, the guy who was inspired the movie, ended up getting sued by 5 women for sexual assault. You had one of the funders of the movie that you saw in the credits himself being arrested for child kidnapping, irony of all ironies. And you get repeatedly, there's pedophiles in every echelon of society, regrettably. I don't think this is a political issue, but there does seem to be an effort to connect the Democratic Party with child sex trafficking, even at the same time as we see who affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, every political figure under the sun.
She's with Donald Trump. She's with Hillary Clinton. It's everywhere. So what is with this effort to try to make it the libs are pedophiles? The libs are problems for substantive reasons that I would agree with. Yeah. But what is this idea of trying to politicize something like pedophilia?
Yeah, I'm ultimately warning against it because I think the government is going to use this power for ill, which is why and we should be true. We should be truthful and accurate about the reality of crime because we can't prevent. Again, we want to protect children from sexual misconduct. It does exist. It absolutely happens, but it's not typically happening under the circumstances that a lot of these people are describing. And these solutions are not going to be tailored to to tackling this sort of thing. In fact, on this category of crime, I saw this story being covered in a lot of places that this top Pentagon official, Stephen Hovanik, I believe is his name, who was arrested, and the headlines are all arrested in a sex trafficking sting. I think we have some video footage of this sting. Can we play that?
Wade County Sheriff's Office released their motel video of Stephen Hovanik and an undercover officer during a human trafficking sting November 15th. During his arrest, he claimed that he was at the hotel to get a massage. Deputies say his interaction with the undercover officer raises questions about that claim.
So what's up? Steve, by the way. Hey, nice to meet you. You're beautiful. Thank you. I answer yourself. You guys don't have a shower before you got here? I appreciate it. So I'm not coming here showered.
Hovanik has been identified as the chief of staff for all military schools in the U.S. and oversees the education of thousands of military-dependent children. He's 64 years old and lives in Sharpsburg, according to his arrest report.
And considering he's military, that coincides with what the wife of the CIA government assassin had said about how majority of the time these kids are Hey, New Eyes. Hey, Tamiko Show. The majority of the time these kids are, funneled and tunneled through the military and indoctrinated through the military as well, and then they're flipped.
But I'm just going to let you know I don't play the full tape. That's all. I understand. That's it. Okay. I think that's fair.
So the person in that video that he's meeting with, that's an adult woman. It's actually an undercover police officer. And they're arresting him. They're saying it's... So No underage person was in danger. No person was in danger at all because the only person there was actually an undercover police officer. And again, this is maybe just my libertarianism emerging. Who cares if a dude pays for a massage with a woman who is consenting adult?
A massage, Robbie?
This is not. I don't care. Like this is
I'm just
what
saying,
law
let's call it what
enforcement.
it is.
You agree with
Yeah,
me?
no, I don't think
law
sex
enforcement
work
is going
should
to
be
waste their
illegal.
time on this stuff. There was a carjacking in front of my office yesterday. There was actually the person. This happened right outside my office yesterday. We watched it happen from the windows. Somebody, the guy whose car it was, wrestled the guy to the ground and held him there, and got the perpetrator pepper sprayed him and had a weapon, and he held him down until the police arrived. So like maybe there are actual things police can be dealing with instead of like harassing people in this kind of circumstance. I know other people feel differently. I think this should be legal. I don't care about this. This isn't a threat to anyone. It's not a threat to children.
Yeah,
it's very stupid.
The linking, it's the same. The guy's job responsibility includes overseeing children. Like that has anything to do with him
pull out the
paying for
fainting
sex with
couch.
an adult woman is bizarre.
Yeah.
And framing it, I don't quite understand the sex trafficking in lieu of a prostitution charge.
Yes.
It does make it feel like someone's doing something somehow more insidious than the world's oldest profession, like doing something against the woman's will as opposed to something that just happens to be against the law because that's what we've decided in this country.
Yeah, but tell us what you think. Hotly debated subject. We'll have more rising.
So that's the thing, right? It's so many different bits and pieces of, evidence out there that this whole Pizzagate thing is not necessarily just a fucking conspiracy theory. Especially when you have to consider how many times you've heard about child trafficking out there, how many times you've heard about just human trafficking in general, and how many different ways you've seen the evidence of what it's even about, which is the adrenochrome. So it's not that this is just a conspiracy theory when, like I said, you have different forms of evidence just surrounding around it. So furthermore, we have, if we're not going to talk about, the Comet Pizzeria, right? Let's talk about the St. John's Pizzeria, right? Let's talk about the St. John's Pizzeria. Matter of fact, let me make sure I have it right as well. Let me pull up this first one over here as well. Okay, so bring my butt back on over here. All right, so 2006 Newfoundland child pornography ring. Two separate but interlocking child pornography and prostitution rings operating out of a fast food restaurant in Newfoundland, said by police investigators to have abused dozens of girls, were broken up in 2006. The investigation, named Operation Rescue, was carried out jointly by the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary and the Newfoundland Child, Youth and Family Services Department. So Sean James Newman, Newfoundland, was convicted and sentenced to 8 years in prison. Newman was charged in having made, printed, published, and possessed child pornography for the purpose of publishing after a series of appeals. Matter of fact, let me make sure this is the same one. Okay, yeah. Let me make sure this is the same. Okay, so yeah, this is the same one. All right, so after a series of appeals, Newman was ordered to report to Her Majesty's Penitentiary on John 20, 2009. The same day, he was found dead at his home of undisclosed causes. So in a separate case, Minhad Mahav Shablak of St. John's, Newfoundland, a Kuwaiti Canadian, was charged with making and owning child pornography. Shabak met his victims at the Big Bite Pizza Shop. At a trial, Shabak pled guilty to 8 counts involving making the owning child pornography, 6 charges of making child pornography, and 2 counts of owning it. Shabak admitting of paying 6 girls who were all 13 and 16 at the time with money or drugs. On one occasion, he gave a girl some pizza and a soda. So I want you to look at this article here as well. No, not this one. Not this one. So why the Big Bite Pizza victims cannot be named even if they wanted to be. So we knew we were going to lose, but I had to go to court to see it for myself. It had been 13 months since the day I opened a Facebook inbox message and was blown away. If only you knew her name, the untold stories of the girls at Big Bite Pizza. 2 women had come forward and shared their stories of child sexual exploitation in downtown St. John's. They spoke on a condition the CBC News broadcast their names and their faces and put their full story out there. Because of the publication bans of the criminal cases related to their experiences, we had to go to court to meet those conditions. It was a miserable morning in December, and when we finally made it to a courtroom for decision, I was told the day before that we were going to lose, but I also had to be there. So imagine getting told that you're going to lose the case anyway, even though you still got to be there. So an unprecedented move. I don't blame Supreme Court Justice Rosalie McGrath, and you shouldn't either. After all, we had asked her to do something that had never been done before: overturn a publication ban in a child pornography case to identify 2 of the 6 victims. Something similar played out in Nova Scotia in 2014. Dads shattered over death of Ritaia Parsons. Ritaia Parsons, this young lady here, rest in peace. Ritaia Parsons was a young girl who was allegedly raped and photographed 3 years earlier. That photo circulated through her school, and her family says she killed herself because of the bullying she faced. What happened to Ritaia Parsons went viral. Everyone knew the story. Everyone knew her name. But when the case eventually made its way to the court in 2014, nobody was allowed to say it out loud. All victims in crimes of a sexual nature are protected by a publication ban, meaning no media outlet is allowed to do anything that would give a person who knows the victim a reasonable chance to identify them. So imagine your hands are pretty much tied behind your back. You're not even allowed to even speak upon a victim if it does happen. Kind of crazy, right? So this is actually a clip of one of the victims of the St. John's, actually.
I used to be angry about it. I used to resent the world, resent society, because all the people downtown in the nights, they'd walk on past with their buddies going to get drinks at the bar. How could you not know that we were children, right?
When you've been forced to do things that make your skin crawl, how long does it take to heal, to kill the monsters in your past, and can you ever live a normal life again? She's had these questions for 12 years. She lives without electricity, without running water, and without her daughter. At 26 years old, she is the face of child exploitation and its damage. But we can't show you her face, and we can't tell you her name either. The 2 women you'll meet in this story first approached CBC News in November of 2016. They wanted their stories told and their faces on TV, but the law had other ideas. The women signed affidavits. They gave full consent. But after CBC lawyers spent months in court, a judge upheld a publication ban concealing their identities. A publication ban has never been overturned for a victim of child pornography, and these women will not be the first. And so, we'll call her Phoebe.
I don't want to be the girl hiding behind the shadows of her past. I want to be the survivor who stands up and faces her past.
It's the year 2003 and Phoebe is 12 years old, but she doesn't want anyone to know her age. She's about to sell her body to a grown man outside of the Supreme Court in St. John's, and she can never forget her first time.
I was so nervous, and I was almost to the point of overdosing on cocaine. I remember screaming as he pushed my face down into his back seat, begging for him to stop, begging for it to be over. It was the longest 20 minutes of my life. As a child, you cannot consent to any of what I went through. It wasn't my fault. I didn't ask for any of it.
She was born in Conception Bay South, raised in a happy family at first, but things change. Families fall apart, children rebel. Phoebe was taken from her home and placed in foster care at the age of 10. The abuse begins.
There was one foster home. The wife would go to sleep and the husband would get up and molest us. You know, and you're afraid to tell your social worker, you're afraid to tell the police, your guidance counselor, right? And that they won't believe you.
Looking to escape the assault, Phoebe turns to the streets, but there she finds the terror only amplifies.
Sources have told CBC about possessing and making child pornography ranged from 13 to 16. Young people should never be exposed to.
Big Bite Pizza was a scary place, and there was times that I was homeless and I had to do pictures just for food.
Street kids and sex workers gravitate towards Big Bite Pizza on Water Street. Minaj Shablak, a Kuwaiti immigrant, had a lust for young girls, and he had a Sony digital camera.
We'd sit down in the restaurant part until he waved us back, which was normally when customers left. And then we'd go in the back or down in the basement, and even up in the food processing area where they'd have the prep table and everything like that. And he'd grab out his camera and he'd tell you what way to pose, and he'd always say he'd do it from the neck down, as not to have faces involved, because he knew we were all children.
But Shablak is not her most feared predator. That title belongs to Sean Newman, her 33-year-old pimp. A mentally unstable man with violent tendencies, her protector, but also her worst nightmare.
He just gained my trust and, you know, told me everything would be okay, told me he'd be my friend, and he loved me and cared for me, and I believed him.
What was that process like? You know, where did this happen?
It happened downtown in front of the courthouse, actually. That was the one spot he always put me, and he'd have customers lined up at first, and so I'd just go with them, do as they said, because that's what he told me to do, and then I had to bring the money back and put it in the console in his vehicle. And we'd go to a few hits of crack, and he'd put me back out there.
These tricks were often violent, grown men with...
So he pretty much would keep her on crack while he was pimping her out and doing child pornography videos. We live in a very sick world, and I always say Jesus just needs to hit the reset button.
Dangerous desires.
The one I remember is getting tied to a tree and beaten and then left there. And my friend found me.
How old were you then?
I was probably 12, 13.
How does a 12-year-old process that in their mind? You know, how do you reason with why this is happening to you?
Drugs. You use drugs to help cover up your emotions and how you're feeling and help you forget.
Chemical relief.
12 and 13 years old, and you're talking about drug relief from crack and cocaine.
One of many things Phoebe shared with her friend.
This is a very sick and sadistic world that we live in. For someone to be putting that through, for you doing that to a little girl, it's beyond hell. It is beyond hell when you leave this earth.
Minaj Shablak ran a pizza shop in St. John's, but it was so much more than that. He gave jobs to young girls living on the streets with troubled lives. But Menad Shablak was no saint. This is Sarah. During a period of homelessness at 15 years of age, she got a job at Big Bite Pizza. That's when she was approached by Shablak. He wanted her to pose naked in the store. Homeless and desperate, Sarah did it.
It had a whole impact on the rest of my life. It's just something that I never got over. You never get over the humiliation or the guilt, the shame, and you always feel like it's your fault. I ended up on drugs for years, I think it was like 8 years or something after that, on heavy drugs, and in and out of really abusive relationships. It really affected everything I did. It affected who I was.
Menad Shablak could not keep it a secret. He pleaded guilty and served 11 months for photographing 6 underage girls. Both women say there was no follow-up after, no help offered to them after they helped put away their predator.
They just kind of threw us to the curb. And I found that really difficult, especially once I got older. There was no counseling, no programs offered. We were just left in whatever situation we were in the beginning.
What does that do for your self-confidence?
It makes you feel like nobody cares about you and that you're not worth anything. And for a long time, I felt like I was worthless.
Things got worse when Sarah turned to needles. There were 9 or 10 overdoses in a short period of time, waking up kicking, punching, and clawing at the people who were trying to save her life.
Just knowing that I almost died and waking up and not knowing who I was or where I was, or if I had someone with me, not knowing who they were, and not being able to speak, not knowing how to speak. It was an extremely scary situation. And I guess with everything that had happened to me in the past, the first thing that I would think about was that I was being raped.
The memories are all too much for Phoebe some days. She rarely leaves her house, which is hard when the winter comes. She moves her bed into the living room next to the wood stove. But there's a different kind of cold running through her frail bones.
You just get tired of the nightmares and the flashbacks, and you just want it all to stop. And a lot of times I used to just cut just to be able to feel pain and see my own blood, to know I was an actual person, you know? Not this ice-cold skeleton that I feel like.
Self-destruction is a theme Sarah is all too familiar with. But after hitting rock bottom and losing her son, Sarah got on track. She was accepted to Memorial University and began working towards a degree. But then, a few months into sobriety, she broke.
It was a 14-hour relapse, and I ended up in the hospital after having a heart attack.
A cocaine-induced heart attack. She nearly lost everything and knew it had to be her last relapse. And it was. Today, Sarah is 1 semester away from her degree. She lives a full life with her partner, and she got her son back.
I'm so scared that he's going to end up going down the same road that I did. You know, all I can do is do my best to prevent that from happening and be the best mother I can be, so that he doesn't have a need to go out and use drugs.
Phoebe knows how hard it is to be a mom with the memories of exploitation. Her daughter isn't here. The little girl stays with her grandmother.
She's my rock. She's a wonderful little girl who she don't know about her mommy's past, but she know mommy's not around a lot. And I believe that if someone would have seen the warning signs, the police, the social workers, anybody, I believe that my daughter would have the best mom she deserves. As we're now, she don't.
Phoebe has been sober since the Newman trial in 2007. Instead of going to prison, Sean Newman was found dead on the day his appeal was denied. Phoebe remembers feeling relief. Sean Newman could not control her anymore. Today, she's trying to heal. She's trying to kill those monsters in her past. And most importantly, she's trying not to hurt herself anymore. In her frail bones, there's a feeling fighting against the cold, a feeling that she has work to do.
I've had many attempts, and for some reason I'm still here, and I believe it's to get my story out. And even if I can just change one girl's life, that means the most to me. It means that what I went through wasn't for nothing.
It definitely will not be. It definitely, most certainly will not be. For nothing. And like I said before, hey, Linda McMillan. Like I said before, this is just one of many stories of, child trafficking, child pornography. These 6 sadistic stories that happen, even in these little towns, they're pretty much targets. So when I think of, like I said, even the earthquake in Haiti, that was a perfect time for these sick and sadistic celebrities and politicians to go over there and say, oh, let's make it look like we're saving Haiti, but we're really child trafficking. We live in a fucked up world, yo. We live in a very fucked up world. So, furthermore, let's at least, before I forget, let's take a look at, we might as well. Let's take a look at this movie here called Pizzagate Massacre. And of course, it's pretty much about the Pizzagate shooting that actually happened in Washington, D.C. Justin Kemp, what's goody? What's goody? Did y'all not see me? Did they, is this really off? Did y'all not see me? Let me check on something real quick. I was gonna say, why would they shut it down? Because it don't look like that more. Yeah, it don't look like I'm off. Let me see something. Oh no, I'm not. All right, hold on. The movie is on YouTube. I don't get it. All right, so I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I could do. Because I'm not gonna end it. All right, so it looks like I'm back. Am I back? I'm looking at my phone right now. It looks like I'm back. All right. So I'm gonna assume that the stream stopped because I'm showing the movie up here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretty much wrap it here, and I'm gonna put the movie up on the Patreon. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the movie on the Patreon. That way everybody can still look at it. But as you all knew, why they like to do shit like that to me. So, yeah, I kind of figured something like this would happen when I jumped into Pizzagate. But so a nigga don't get completely removed out of here, let me do this before I go. Let me do this real quick before I do go. Let me see here. Bingo.
Kids on TV, they scratch,
No,
they
not this one.
sigh.
Not reality this one.
They love to make faces, but
Hold
that
on.
isn't why this interview by Fox's Neil Cavuto was pronounced creepiest thing ever by the blog media.
I was in like a 50-person orgy. So there were about 30 people in like a bunch of matches that had all been pushed together in the middle. There were, probably another 20 people around the edge. And at the end of that kind of experience, you don't really know, like.
So this guy actually was revealing how sex parties actually work. Essentially how freak-offs work.
Who you've had sex with, what they look like, you don't know anyone's name. So the swinger lifestyle is basically having sex with someone who is not your primary partner. That can be with your partner, that can be away from your partner, it can be at parties, it can be at swaps. There's a whole range of stuff in the lifestyle. There are parties that are very cisgender and heteronormative. There are parties that are very kink heavy, and there are queer parties as well. So if you walk into kind of one of the classic famous straight parties, you won't see a lot of kind of conventionally unattractive people. And what's quite sad is those people get kind of filtered out generally. You'll see much older men bringing these incredibly attractive women who turn out to be escorts because they won't be let in if they turn up as a single man. A lot of the straight parties are very white, very thin, very young, and very blonde as well. I would say generally if you're black or Asian, you don't see as many people there. There's definitely fetishization, for sure. I've seen like these really stacked dudes with these Asian tiny girlfriends, and they'll be on leads, and like I witnessed two guys who look like that literally swapping leads for the women. And I don't know whether those women were into that or not, but it felt quite weird. So in terms of joining an orgy, there's like various levels of etiquette. I think what's most important is you make eye contact with someone in the orgy. They normally wave you in. Solo wanking is a general no-go at any party. So, solo wanking is someone who generally presents as male, and they're normally standing in a space, watching people wanking without their consent, and they'll normally try and make eye contact with you. And basically what they're doing is trying to participate in a scene that they weren't necessarily invited into. There are parties for specific kinks. There is a party which is a greedy girls and hot wives party, and it's a ratio of 6 men to 1 woman. There's female domination ones. In London, a lot of the parties have staff who will watch out for rule breaks. They'll monitor orgies, which I'm sure is not particularly a fun job. And
so I really just wanted to throw YouTube off of my ass as far as looking at Pizzagate and shit. That's why I put the sex party shit on. This particular bit right here, we're going to get back into when we go over Kim Porter's memoir. Because if you notice, okay, you done the screen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to re-download this live later and clip it the way I wanted to before the movie, of course. So again, we're going to get back into, the swinger parties and the sex parties when I do read Kim Porter's memoir. As you know, when we read some of Kim Porter's memoir last night, it heavily involved a lot of that. And it had Albie Shore, of course, swinging with Diddy. It had Diddy trying to swing with Tupac. But I hope you guys also, took notice to the fact that they don't necessarily like when we talk about Pizzagate up here. And I should have also disclaimed the fact that Pizzagate trailer that we were looking at. Now, the crazy thing is they didn't flag me for looking at the Pizzagate trailer, but they flagged me for looking at, of course, they're probably going to copyright it for the looking at just the movie in general, which is strange because, like I said, I got away with looking at Iron Sky on here and they didn't say anything. But I guess because, it's one of those movies that was actually banned from Hollywood. Like, Pizzagate was banned from Hollywood. That whole massacre movie was banned from Hollywood. So I'm actually going to put, like I said, I have it downloaded all the way. I'm going to put it up on my Patreon for everyone to watch. But actually, I'm just going to put it up on there now. So within the next, I want to say hour or two, you'll probably see it up on there. If y'all want to look at it in the morning time, y'all definitely can. Tamiko Show, thank you so much. They blocked the whole Dream deep dive. Yeah, that's the thing. So YouTube will do shit like that when you really get into the nitty gritty on it. They will definitely get your ass if you get into the nitty gritty on things. So I already know how they do with me. I already know how they do with me. So, like I said, I just wanted to take their mind off it real quick if they were looking at me like, hey, what's he talking about with Pizzagate? So, anywho, when I do come back Tuesday, we will be going over Mode 3. Mode 3, Drunk Golf Course. All right, so let me just go up here real quick. So, once again, shout out to everybody that tuned in this evening. I do apologize for what happened with the stream. I don't know necessarily why they got me, especially if that movie is on YouTube. That's the crazy part. The movie is on YouTube, but it's banned from Hollywood. It's so weird. Shout out to Justin Kemp. Shout out to Tamiko Show. Thank you so much for screen recording what we possibly have missed. Shout out to Medusa. Thank you so much for being a moderator in here. I will try to get on at much later times. That way you can make the live as well. Shout out to New Eyes. Shout out to Straight from DC. Shout out to Zoe Childs. Thank you so much for that information on Diddy's Witch book as well on the Adrenochrome. Let's see. Shout out to Night Madman 90, I should say. Shout out to Leg Appeal. Midnight Secrets, Wink. Shout out to Who That Slugger. Shout out to D. Shout out to Night. I said Night. Shout out to Fast Life Forever. Shout out to who else up in here? Juju. Shout out to Kimberly Ann. Shout out to Icon Vani. Icon Vani did make it up in here. That's right. Shout out to King Osmond as always. I think I did shout out to Juju. Shout out to What Had Happened blog. Always shout out to Sis. Shout out to Norma Dominguez as well. Shout out to Glenn. I believe we missed Glenn. Glenn might have took a nap, of course. And as always, shout out to the homie Fury B. I'm gonna look into that information too that you gave me too about the Central Park. I need to definitely look into that as well. I didn't necessarily want to go into it here because it would have, of course, kind of went off topic as well. But it would have went off topic as far as it's still in the round of lines of human trafficking, but it went off the rails of the child trafficking that we were trying to cover here. So I'm definitely going to be looking into that as well. Thank you so much for the continued information and support that Free B you do, as well as all of you guys. Juju, like I said, Medusa, Tamiko Show, all of you guys. I love all of you guys. Thank you so much once again. They hate me for doing these type of things. Yeah, I know they hate me.
You got to have principles. You got to have morals. You got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him.
As I always say,
to keep it frank, he was
keep
doing
your third
the things
eye
to
open,
other
your head
people
on the
that
swivel.
was done to him. He was saying,
fact is never
the touchy-feely
motherfucking fiction.
between two men
Till
and all
Tuesday.
that stuff like that, man. All
Peace.
he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons, and he had a house, and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not going to say alleged because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self. You understand what I'm saying? So these are behaviors and things that with drugs and all the stuff that's going on, pills, drinking, it can make this man into a monster, and that's what it did, bruh.
I couldn't help but notice your pain. My pain? It runs deep. Share it with me.
They'll never take me alive. I'm getting high with my 4-5 cocked on these suckers, time to die. Even as a youngster, causing ruckus on the back of the bus. I was a fool all through high school, kicking up dust, but now I'm labeled as a troublemaker. Who can you blame? Smoking weed help me take away the pain. So I'm hopeless, rolling down the freeway, swerving. Don't worry, I'm about to crash up on the curb, cause my business bloody. Maybe if they tried to understand me, what should I do? I had to feed my fucking family. What else could I do? Or be a thug? I'm slanging with the homies, fuck hanging with them phonies in the club. Got my mind on danger, never been a stranger to homicide. My city's full of gangbangers and drive-bys. Why do we die at an early age? He was so young, but still a victim of the 12 gauge. My memories of a corpse, mind full of sick thoughts, and I ain't going back to court. So fuck what you thought. I'm drinking Hennessy, running from my enemies. Will I let them be 23 and so much pain?
Years and years of that rough life, running crazy wild as a kid, and going tough with a knife, and living tripe from the regular, walking out competitors. See a figure moving, check her down like a you raggedy bitch. See little shit like that lets me further know what it is you really do.
Abortion?